am brilliant. I thought of this morning. Baseball should have a new campaign. Shohei Ohtani, better than Babe. Oh, he is, right? You know that, right? He plays for the Angels. I live in L.A. County, which is north of Orange County, and I've never seen an Angel hat here. So it's the second most popular baseball team, probably the seventh most popular sports franchise in the area of which I live. So he doesn't get a lot of acclaim and a lot of publicity. He's unbelievable. He is simultaneously an ace and the home run king. He's the only player ever to have 20-plus home runs and over 80 strikeouts in a season. Babe Ruth has always been a lot of mythology. I'm sorry, old heads, it's true. Did you know this about Babe Ruth? Most people don't. He started in Boston with the Red Sox as a pitcher. He was very dominant. Babe Ruth was a dominant pitcher. But in those years with the Red Sox, he had 49 home runs in 6 years. 8 a year. He was a pitching story, not a hitting story. Well, it was a dead ball era. 8 home runs a year against that level of competition? It must have been some dead ball. Did it come out of the coffin? They had to go to a cemetery to get the baseballs? How dead was it? Then he goes to New York, and Babe Ruth actually didn't pitch. You didn't know that. No, he only started 2 games ever as a Yankee. First year in New York, he pitched 4 innings. The next year, he pitched 9 innings, and Babe was done pitching in New York. So in Boston, he was a pitching star with power, but not that much power. Then he goes to New York, he's just a hitter, which is, by the way, a great hitter. Shohei Ohtani is doing it simultaneously against global talent, against the world's best baseball players, in a sport now that's all about specialists. People don't understand this. First of all, Babe Ruth was 6'2" and a little overweight, and he looked like a giant. Shohei Ohtani is 6'4". On the 40-man Angels roster, I looked it up this morning, he's the 5th tallest guy in his own team. Babe looked like he was a foot taller than the entire sport. Babe never faced an elite closer. He never had to face a cutter, global talent, specialist, or 4 times a night. Shohei Ohtani will often face 4 different pitchers, all throwing gas, 95 plus. Have you watched baseball? Dudes are cranking now. When I was a kid in the 70s, forget Babe Ruth's era, in the 70s, the dominant baseball team was the Cincinnati Reds. They had one guy that threw in the 90s, Don Gullett. He was a high school football star in Kentucky. He went on to be a great pitcher for the Reds, a left-hander, number 35. Remember him well, my favorite team, my favorite pitcher. Gullett threw 95. Only pitcher on the Reds that threw in the 90s. They had Fred Norman, Jack Billingsley, Clay Carroll. They had off-speed guys. That's the way baseball was. Baseball now is all guys throwing absolute gas. Ohtani faces all of them and rolls his eyes and rolls a ball about 490 feet. He's an unbelievable talent, but he plays for the Angels, and I'll be honest, in Los Angeles, and they're just down the road. I used to live 40 minutes from the stadium. You never see an Angels hat. You never see an Angels hat in L.A. County. It's Dodger cap, it's Rams, it's Lakers, it's USC, it's UCLA. So, and the idea, the specialist thing's amazing. Babe didn't face middle relievers and setup men, and everything now in life is specialists. Shohei Ohtani will face a guy that's job is just to set up a closer. He comes in the 7th and pitches to 2 batters. That's his job. Babe Ruth faced plumbers and sandwich makers and drywall fitters, if they had drywall back then. That's what he faced. Mechanics. It was your second job. You were exhausted coming to the park. Shohei Ohtani faces the world's best talent. Their job is to often pitch to 2 batters in the 7th inning to set up your closer. And he is destroying the sport, global talent at the same time. Better than Babe. And it's not close. This kid is a remarkable all-time talent. Baseball needs to do a better job marketing him. And by the way, you are free to use my campaign. It will offend some of the old heads. Get off my lawn. Who cares? They're not going anywhere. If you wanna get people excited about this kid, watch him tonight. It's just, there's nothing like him in my life. Nothing like him. An unbelievable talent. Okay, so everybody's freaking out. Team USA. They put this Team USA together for the Olympics in Tokyo, right? And they're doing some exhibitions in Vegas. And everybody's freaking out because we've lost to Nigeria and Australia. And let's break this down. Let's break this down. So basketball and soccer are very unique. They're the only sports I can think of, team sports I can think of, where you could go to the park and play if you had a ball. You could play by yourself in your backyard, kick the ball around. I had a soccer ball as a kid. I just kicked it against the wall at my house. I shot baskets by myself. When I was a kid, I pretended I was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and I would do my sky hook over my friend Mark Fisher, and we would play for hours on end. Or sometimes I would just play by myself. Can't do that with baseball. Can't pitch to yourself. Can't do it with football. Hard to tackle yourself. Not going to do it with hockey much, right? But because of that, there is no economic burden for basketball and soccer. If you got a ball or somebody does, if you got a little bit of a backyard, just go to a park and play. And because of that, the talent is global. In soccer, you'll see a country like Ivory Coast be awesome. In basketball, our best players from Slovenia. With skiing, you need a mountain. With golf, you need money and a course. With baseball, you need bats and balls and gloves and teammates and a park. The world has a bunch of really good soccer players and a bunch of really good basketball players, and we still produce more of the great ones. But basketball is changing. It pays a lot of money, and kids are always ahead of adults on ways to make money. Ever notice that? They're the trendsetters with fashion, with music, with style, with TikTok, and with sports. That's why kids in California, there's no more running backs. We have a state of 39 million people. There's about 2 good running backs in the state a year. Why? Because the kids are all like, I don't want to get hit. I want to be a receiver and quarterback. I want to make all the money. You can find 50 good wide receivers, 4-star wide receivers in California. You can find 12 good quarterbacks. Everybody recruits quarterbacks in Southern Cal. Notre Dame does, Michigan does, USC does, Pac-12 does, Clemson does, Alabama does, LSU does. Everybody does. Because the kids are like, I want to play running back and get hit. Kids see the money in soccer. Messi made $650 million. Kids see the money in basketball. There's no economic barrier to entry to get in. So the quality of basketball is amazing. Think about what we're seeing in America right now. And I'm not saying we shouldn't beat Nigeria and Australia. These are just exhibitions. Shocking we didn't get up for Australia and Nigeria in Vegas at an exhibition. Shocking. But I'm going to tell you what's happening right now in the NBA. Right now, this second. Who's dominating the finals individually? Giannis. He's from Greece. The best young player, I think we'd have to admit it's Luka. He's from Slovenia. The MVP, Nikola Jokic from Serbia. The runner-up, Joel Embiid from Cameroon. The defensive player of the year is from France, Rudy Gobert. There's no reason to be afraid of it. There's no reason for fear. The winners are you and I in America as consumers. The global talent in basketball is phenomenal. I can remember, I'm old enough to remember in the 80s, you'd get the random European player, and the media would try to tell you how great they were. Oh, this guy's great, and that guy's great. And you'd be like, they're not as good as our players. Oh, they're as good as our players. In fact, recently, they're better. And they're getting really, really good, and their academy system is remarkable. It's the envy of the world. And that means if we, in an exhibition game, throw a bunch of players off a COVID bubble and a condensed season who are washed, and they don't care, and half are free agents, and Jason Tatum's got a new coach, and Bradley Beal's going to have a new teammate, and Damon's going to have a new team, and they're not really focused, you can lose to Nigeria. You can lose to Australia. And there's nothing to be afraid of. Basketball has never, whether you watch it or not, been more of a global game and more skilled. Okay, so, Joy and I are America's honesty broker.